Hello, we are here with Dr. Emma Bragdon. She is a member of the Circle of Honor of Spiritual Awakenings International. She has been researching spiritual emergency for many years now, has written many books, and she's going to be presenting on Saturday, June 10th, 2023, a talk about Brazilian Spiritists. The name of the conference will be How 20 to 40,000 Brazilian Spiritists Care for Individuals in Spiritual Emergency. This is going to be really interesting, so I'm going to welcome Dr. Emma Bragdon. Hi, Emma.
Hi, AJ. Thank you so much for introducing what I'll be speaking about on June 10th at the conference. I'm so glad to see that they are offering it for free or by donation only. So that makes it available to everyone all over the world very easily. And you asked me to speak a little bit about what I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
So, yes, in 2001, I was invited to go to Brazil. And at that time, I was teaching a 9-day course. And in fact, I was given the honor of teaching teachers. So I was there basically as a mentor. And a friend of mine who was paraplegic had said, would you check out more what's going on with spiritual healing in Brazil? So I won't go into the whole story here, but it was quite a journey. And it started with one of the most world famous spiritual healers in Brazil. But at that particular time, some of the people who worked with him, mediums in this case, came to me the very day that I was there the first time and said, oh, you're here to bring Spiritism to the English-speaking world. I'd never heard the word Spiritism. This was in 2001. And that night, we'll call it a synchronicity or an amazing coincidence, I was introduced to a woman who had started, well, she was the conference organizer for the International Transpersonal Conference in Sao Paulo. And she invited me to go and visit several Spiritist centers in Sao Paulo. And I started an amazing journey of being introduced to the leaders of Spiritism, both in the community centers, as well as in the Spiritist psychiatric hospitals. And because I'd never heard of this in my graduate school education, I thought, well, this must be a very, very small movement. But as I dug deeper in my research and study of it, I realized that 20 to 40 million Brazilians actually visit Spiritist centers to look at the spiritual side of whatever it was that was distressing them, for them, meaning psychological or physical. So they might identify themselves as Catholic or Jewish or Hindu or whatever, but they would still visit a Spiritist center to look at the and treat the spiritual aspect of whatever was distressing them. So that's a large number of people, 20 to 40 million Brazilians. And then I looked deeper into the Spiritist psychiatric hospitals and found that there were 50 of them in Brazil, but nowhere else in the world.
Okay, so one of the things you mentioned that you discovered was that these Spiritists have been treating spiritual emergency for decades.
Not only decades, AJ, they've actually been treating it, I would say, over 100 years. So the first Spiritist psychiatric hospital that was really publishing about its work was in the 1930s. So that's about 90 years ago. But it was clearly going on before that when they had opened the hospital. They just weren't documenting it. So one of the things they felt was very important is that some people who may be like diamonds in the rough, in other words, think about a piece of coal that's in darkness, and then is this, if we consider that this is a person, metaphorically speaking, and this person is highly sensitive and may have the gift of being a medium or being an energy healer, but that doesn't quite fit into the culture that they were brought up in. And so they repress those particular abilities. They don't talk about them. They try to keep them undercover, as it were. But you know how it is with repression. Things pop up because they're still sitting there and they may have a lot of energy. So, and when this kind of activity that's lying in the subconscious or unconscious pops up, it can come out quite chaotically. Similarly to repressed anger, that can come out quite unpredictably and chaotically if we repress it, and then it emerges. So in this case, thinking of, let's say, the person who is like a piece of coal and they've repressed their mediumship or abilities as a healer, and it pops up, it can be quite chaotic. And the way we refer to that might be a spiritual emergency, because a person doesn't want to have these abilities, feels that they might actually be an indicator of their being crazy or a lunatic. And so the Spiritists actually will invite that kind of person in, just like they welcome people of all cultures, all faiths, all sexual orientation, and help that person to understand that they do have gifts, God-given gifts, and they would not only be able to explain to them what's going on, but also be able to give them training so that the person can be active as a medium or energy healer. And of course, mediumship can take many, many different forms. Channeling, for instance, predicting the future, being a medical intuitive. So this is the kind of thing I'll be talking about at the conference on June 10th. And I'm still, after all these years of study, and it's been from 2001, so over 20 years of study, I'm still absolutely excited and passionate about what the Spiritists have developed, because it's not only about turning coal into diamonds, it's really about helping people evolve on a spiritual level and be able to go through some of the ups and downs that can occur in that journey. So I'll be there on Saturday, June 10th, and that's 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time in the United States. I think that's 12:30 for you in Colombia, and
yes,
many different time zones. But it's a very inclusive time because it's right in the middle of the day. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to your audience, AJ. I've enjoyed being here today, and I hope to see you again sometime.
I'll see you at the conference then.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
So I hope everybody registers and see you there.
Spiritualawakeningsinternational.org, or you can go to spiritualconference.org. See you there.
Have you ever had a mystical experience? Perhaps a near-death experience or something extraordinary you don't understand? And has this made you feel confused, isolated, or misunderstood? You are not alone. At Spiritual Awakenings International, we know how you feel. Each day, more of us are having these and other spiritually transformative experiences, a term coined by its president, Dr. Yvonne Kaysen, which includes near-death experiences, mystical experiences, Kundalini awakenings, and psychic experiences, among others. Spiritual Awakenings International is a non-profit, multi-faith, worldwide network interested in raising global spiritual awareness. Join us and participate in our free online featured speaker events and our experiencers sharing circles, where you will meet with others like you and share in a supportive environment. Visit our website and join our growing family today. Spiritual Awakenings International, bringing us together.